Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Jenni Self-Care Lab. It is Mindful Mondays, and so you know it. We're going to be covering ingredients, products, or brands. And today we're talking about one of the newest kids on the block, known as tranexamic acid, which actually has been around for quite a long time. And I'll explain kind of the background around this. But really, we want to understand what it is, where in our skincare routine it fits in, if it should at all, and who can use it, who should not use it, at what time of day should they use it, and for how long can we be using it to before we can expect some results. So let's get into it and unpack. Tranexamic acid, as we know it within the skincare community, is a synthetic derivative of an amino acid, which has a name that I cannot pronounce, but it is a derivative of this amino acid that's actually been used for a very long time within the medical industry, primarily to help with the reduction of bleeding in surgery, trauma, and dental procedures, as well as menstruation with heavy bleeding. In skincare, tranexamic acid, or TXA as we know it, is actually a very powerful ingredient used for various issues around the skin, particularly focusing on the hyperpigmentation kind of category of concerns. It's primarily known for its brightening as well as its anti-inflammatory properties. And there's actually been a number of tests done around acne, melasma, rosacea. All of these, what they have found is that tranexamic acid is a very powerful and effective ingredient to be using. Tranexamic acid has a number of different benefits. Some of those benefits would include hyperpigmentation, as I said, which is a very broad category because within that we can talk about post-inflammatory dark spots. We can talk about dark spots caused by sun exposure, not necessarily always just by acne. We can also talk about melasma and other issues of patches or skin that has turned a different color. The benefits of tranexamic acid within skincare is that it does help reduce hyperpigmentation by inhibiting the melanin production in our skin. So basically, it interrupts the pathways within our skin that typically will lead to uneven skin tone. And so what it does is by inhibiting the melanin production, it does fade dark spots and evens out our skin tone. When we're talking about melasma, it does help with this as well. It is one of the most effective topical treatments for stubborn melasma. So melasma is a skin condition that typically results in discoloration in the skin. It can affect a number of places on our bodies. However, while it can affect men and women, it does typically affect darker skin toned women more often. There is some complexity, which I'll do a separate video on for melasma, in that there could be a number of reasons why you're getting melasma. That could be due to sun exposure. It could be to genetic predisposition. It could be as a result of pregnancy. And so I'm not going to unpack all of that right now. All we need to know is that TXA, or tranexamic acid, has actually been shown to be very helpful with treating melasma. It is also helpful with inflammation, and so it calms the inflammation, so soothing the skin, irritation, making it great for sensitive skin and redness. However, there is caution to say that if you do have significantly sensitive skin, you might want to be very cautious as you start using tranexamic acid or anything with tranexamic acid in it. The reason being that tranexamic acid, depending on how much of it is in a product, it can be very irritating to very sensitive skin types or skin types that are already struggling with other skin conditions like eczema. And so what you want to do is, while it is good and has anti-inflammatory properties, you want to just be very careful that you're using it with caution if you're somebody who has significantly sensitive skin or is struggling with something like eczema. It does enhance the skin barrier, which is something that was found as part of the tests that were done. The case study shares a little bit around how obviously when you have acne and a number of other skin conditions, what tends to happen is our top layer of skin can get really damaged. And so finding products that are really good with restoring that skin barrier is very important, because beyond just the dark spots that you want to remove, or the melasma or discoloration, whatever the case may be, whatever hyperpigmentation you're trying to treat, it is good and well to remove the hyperpigmentation, but it is important to also focus on your skin barrier, making sure that you're healing that skin barrier and then protecting it thereafter. And so one of the one of the properties of TXA is that it does also enhance your skin barrier by supporting it and reducing its sensitivity over time. The great thing with tranexamic acid is that it pairs well with other actives. So it pairs well with vitamin C, especially other actives that are also brightening agents. So it pairs well with vitamin C, it pairs well with niacinamide as well as kojic acid, all of which are known to be very powerful ingredients for brightening the skin and treating pigmentation of various kinds. Tranexamic acid is useful for various skin types. So whether you have oily skin, dry skin, combination skin, you can be using it. However, like I said, you just want to be very cognizant. If you're somebody whose skin is not just normal sensitive skin, but it is highly, highly sensitive, like extremely high sensitive, high level of sensitivity or reactivity to various skincare products, you want to just be cautious in how you use it. So maybe when you use it for the first time, try and see if you can get something with a lower dosage of tranexamic acid. So instead of going for like a full on, like, I don't know, like 5%, 10%, you want to maybe start with like a smaller dosage where it's like maybe 2% and see how that goes. Another way to do this is maybe you buy, like, let's say, for example, the newer product, which is a niacinamide 10% plus TXA 4%. Maybe if you're worried about sensitivity, what you want to do is maybe do it in the beginning, like on once or twice a week, where maybe it's like a Tuesday and a Thursday you use it, and then slowly over time, gradually increase the number of times that you're using it so that you can really allow your skin to get used to the product and also to see how it is responding to the product. You can do that as well. So tranexamic acid really is for anybody who is looking to deal with dark spots, uneven skin tone, or melasma, and anyone also just looking for a gentle brightening of the skin without irritation. Of course, there are the likes of niacinamide and vitamin C that are really, really good for this as well. And so I would, if you're just looking to brighten the skin and like, get that really good bright glow, then I would probably go the route of like a niacinamide and a vitamin C, just because they also treat or focus on a number of other areas that are really good for the skin. For example, vitamin C is also really good for just protecting your skin from the everyday pollutants and various other issues that we may face throughout the day. So it kind of has this protective property to it. If you're just looking for brightening the skin, that would be great. But if you're looking to also treat hyperpigmentation of sorts, then I would say TXA is definitely useful based on the research that I've done. Now, you can apply tranexamic acid once or twice a day. You can use it both in the morning and the evening. I typically use it like sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening. Most of the time, I will likely use it in the evening because, like I said, I do prefer to use a vitamin C in the afternoon, which does also, over and above the brightening properties, does help to protect my skin, especially because, like, I stay in an area where it can get really, pollution can get really bad. And like my skin does get like very sensitive to environmental stresses. And so vitamin C just is a much better ingredient for me in the mornings to make sure that my skin is really protected. And then in the evening, I can still put on my niacinamide with tranexamic acid, which I normally use the newer one. I know there's other products that also have this, but I'm a big fan of the newer one. So you can use it once or twice a day. You can use it morning or evening. You can layer this with niacinamide or vitamin C for enhanced effects. However, I will say I typically, like, unless you're buying, for example, like the newer product I said, and again, Anua is not sponsoring this. I just really like the product. If, for example, you're using a product that, like the Anua, has like niacinamide 10%, TXA 4%, like that's fine. What I'm not a fan of is if I have like a niacinamide, let's say with zinc from The Ordinary, and then you have a TXA. I don't know, if I've never seen a serum with only TXA in it, so maybe it does exist, but let's say you have a TXA product separately. I'm not a fan of mixing those two things together, and that's probably not maybe the most popular opinion, but I try not to mix things by myself, like unless I really have to and unless I'm really sure that like this is okay for my skin. I think sometimes when it says like it can be layered with niacinamide and vitamin C, yes, it is true that you could layer it on, but for me, I prefer to either buy a product that already has the stuff mixed together, Or if I'm layering, because I'm already layering a number of other products, I don't want to have to spend like multiple I don't want to have to spend money on multiple products, right? So if I can get a product like Anua that already has niacinamide and already have TXA in it, I would rather use that instead of buying like a niacinamide separately and a TXA separately and then bringing it together. I think already because I love to layer on hyaluronic acid, I use my essences. There's already so much in my skincare routine. I don't want to be adding any extra things on top of that. However, if you're somebody who is comfortable doing that, then you are more than welcome to layer niacinamide and vitamin C or vitamin C. I know that I've heard niacinamide and vitamin C can be layered, but some products like The Ordinary, you should just make sure you're reading the box because it does tell you that you cannot use their niacinamide with a vitamin C. It specifically speaks about that on the box. So just make sure that you're always reading the ingredients, reading the box and the instructions to make sure that you truly understand what is being said about the product. Okay, super important is if you're going to be using any kind of ingredient that is a brightening agent, you want to make sure that you're putting on sunscreen, especially if you're going to use this product in the mornings. Make sure that you're using your sunscreen and reapplying throughout the day because any brightening agent, whether it be vitamin C, niacinamide, kojic acid, tranexamic acid, all of these products make your skin more sensitive to UV rays. And so as a result, you want to make sure that you're protecting your skin. Otherwise, you're working against yourself. You might be putting on all of these products and thinking, oh, it doesn't work, but that's because you're not putting on SPF if you're putting it on in the morning. You should be putting on SPF in the morning and making sure that you're reapplying throughout the day. Okay, so just some common side effects that can occur when you're using tranexamic acid. As I said, it does apply for all the skin types. However, in case you have super sensitive skin and you end up breaking out and getting like irritation or super dry skin, or experiencing like super dryness or experiencing even flakiness, what you want to do is if you're going to use something like a TXA, because it can have a drying effect on your skin, you want to make sure that you use a very rich moisturizer. What I like to also do is layer, because I have super dry skin, I like to layer something like a TXA, a zinc, salicylic acid. Like if I've got any of those items in my ingredients within my skincare routine, I want to make sure that I'm layering hyaluronic acid in my skincare routine or like a squalane. And the reason being because those are super hydrating powers or glycerine, like those are going to be really good in helping to make sure that, okay, like while the TXA can be a little bit drying, that my skin doesn't get dehydrated in the process because I'll make sure that it has a little bit more hydration in the squalane or in the hyaluronic acid. So make sure that you're using either like a squalane, a hyaluronic acid, or maybe even just a really good moisturizer that is rich and moisturizing and hydrating, has ceramides, and is really good for your skin barrier as well. Again, that is one of the ones from like I use the Immune moisturizer, which is really nice. It's nice and thick, but it also doesn't feel too thick on my skin. It's like still light, but very, very thick. Very rich, I guess is what I'm saying. So it's very rich. It feels nice on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. It's very moisturizing. I stay moisturized or feeling moisturized throughout the day. But it also is good for my skin barrier because it's helping to really heal it and protect it and restore my skin barrier and then still protect it. So yeah, make sure that you're using that and it should be fine. Of course, if you're not, if you are having a very severe reaction to a product with TXA, you want to make sure that you go see a dermatologist, because if the reaction is really severe and it's not getting any better, you definitely should go see them and see what is the problem. Okay, TXA can actually also be used with retinoids. Apparently, this is really good at enhancing retinoids as well, the impact of the retinoids. I haven't used one yet. I haven't seen one that's mixed with TXA yet, so that's something that I'm yet to discover. And last but not least, you can expect about 1 to 2 months before you can start seeing a change. There are some people that have said, oh, like within 2 weeks, I can already start to see the difference in my skin, which is great. But that may not always be the that may not always be the experience for each and every person. So allow yourself time, use it consistently, and like start looking within like a month to 2 months and see like, are you seeing that difference? Of course, if you're not using something consistently, you're not going to see the difference very quickly. So consistency here is the key. Use it consistently and then really look at your skin and make sure that you're taking before and after pictures so that you can truly start to compare whether you're seeing that difference or not. But yeah, definitely, I hope that this was helpful. We love tranexamic acid. We're going to be using a lot more of it. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fabulous day and join us next week for Mindful Mondays.